1. Introduction. My name is Maria. I want to share my story with you. Maybe it is not a simple story, and maybe some parts are difficult to hear. But I want to be honest. I live in a very big city now. There are tall buildings, many cars, and people everywhere. It is always noisy, day and night. This city is very different from the place where I grew up. I came from a small town. Life there was very quiet. Not much happened. For a long time, I wanted to leave that small town. I dreamed of a different kind of life, a life with more things, more excitement. So I moved here. I wanted changes. And I found changes. But I also made a big choice. Some people will not like this choice. They might think I am a bad person. I need to tell you this now. I married a man, and the main reason was his money. I know how that sounds. It sounds like I used him. It sounds cold. People often think that marrying for money is wrong. They believe marriage should only be about love. I understand why people think this way. Maybe they are right, but my life was not easy before I met my husband. My past has reasons. There were difficult times, and I felt I had no other way to escape the life I did not want. I wanted safety. I wanted a life without constant worry about money. My choice came from that feeling, from that need. I am telling you this at the start because I want to be open. I do not want to hide the truth. Yes, I married for money, but that is not the end of the story. It is just the beginning. Many things happened after that choice. My life changed in ways I did not expect. There was happiness, but also sadness and confusion. I learned many lessons. I want to tell you everything. I want to explain why I felt I needed to make that choice. I want to share what happened next, how this marriage changed me, and what I discovered about life, money, and yes, even about love. Maybe if you hear the full story from the beginning to the end, you will understand me a little better. Or maybe not, but I feel I must tell it. This is my story, the story of why I married for money and what came after. 2. A new start. My life did not start in the big city. I grew up in a small town. It was very far from here. Life there was slow and quiet. Maybe it was too quiet for a young girl like me. When I was only 10 years old, my father died. It was a very sad time for my mother and me. After my father was gone, my mother had to work very hard. She cleaned houses for other families in our town. Her job was difficult, and she was always tired when she came home. I remember her hands were rough from all the cleaning work. We did not have much money. We were poor. Sometimes there was not enough food. I often saw my mother worry about bills. Watching her work so hard and worry so much made me sad. I knew I did not want that life for myself. I wanted something different. I started to dream about a different future. I dreamed of having nice clothes to wear. I imagined living in a big, comfortable house. Most of all, I dreamed of a life where I did not need to worry about money all the time. I wanted more than my small town could give me. So, when I was 19 years old, I decided to leave. I packed my things into one small bag. There was not much to pack. I said goodbye to my mother and my town, and I moved to the big city. It felt like a very big step. When I arrived in the city, I needed a job quickly. I found work in a busy coffee shop. The job was okay, but the hours were very long. I worked from early morning until late in the evening sometimes. It made me very tired. I also found a place to live, but it was not very nice. It was a very small apartment in a big building. The walls were thin. I could always hear my neighbors talking or playing music. It was noisy, not quiet like my old town. Every day at the coffee shop, I served many customers. Some of them looked very rich. They wore expensive clothes and drove nice cars. They seemed happy and relaxed. They did not look worried about money. I watched them and felt a strong feeling inside me. I wanted their life. I wanted to have nice things and feel secure. I was tired of working long hours. I was tired of my small, noisy room. I was tired of being poor. I wanted a new start, a better life than the one I had. 3. Meeting Daniel. A man started coming into the coffee shop every day. His name was Daniel. He was older than me. He always wore nice suits and expensive shoes. I knew he had money. He was tall and quiet. Every day he ordered a black coffee. Then he sat alone near the window and read his newspaper. He did not talk much. He only said hello when he came in and thank you when he left. He looked serious, maybe a little sad. One afternoon, something different happened. Daniel finished his coffee and left. When I cleaned his table, I saw the money he left. It was a very big tip, much more money than usual. I was surprised. The next day when he came in, I said, "Thank you for the tip yesterday. It was very kind." He looked at me and smiled a little. It was the first time I saw him smile like that. "You work hard, Maria," he said. His voice was soft and low. After that day, we started to talk more. Not big conversations, just small talk. We talked about the weather. We talked about the busy city. It was nice to talk to him. He was always polite. One day, he finished his coffee and asked me a question. "Maria," he said, "would you like to have dinner with me sometime?" I looked at his expensive watch. I looked at his clean, shiny shoes. I thought about my small, noisy apartment. I thought about my hard life. Dinner with a rich man. "Yes," I said, "I would like that." He took me to a restaurant. It was the most beautiful place I ever saw. Everything was fancy. The food was delicious. Daniel was quiet, like always, but he was kind. He asked me questions about my life. He wanted to know about my family and my dreams. I told him about my mother and how hard she worked. I told him I wanted a better life. He listened very carefully. He did not talk much about himself. We started seeing each other more after that dinner. We went to other nice places. He bought me small gifts like flowers or a book. It felt strange, like I was in a movie. But I did not feel love for him. My heart did not beat faster when I saw him. Then, one evening, everything changed. It was only 2 months after our first dinner. We were eating at his house. His house was very big and beautiful, but also very quiet. Suddenly, Daniel put down his fork. He looked at me with his serious eyes. "Maria," he said calmly, "will you marry me?" I was so shocked. I almost dropped my fork on the floor. Marry him? We only knew each other for 2 months. I did not love him. He saw the surprise on my face. "I am not looking for a big romance," he explained. "My work keeps me very busy. I want a partner, a kind person to share my life with. I want a quiet, calm life." He was very serious. I thought about my life. I thought about being poor. I looked around his big, beautiful house. This was my chance to escape. This was the different life I dreamed about. It felt wrong, but I wanted it so much. I took a deep breath. "Yes, Daniel," I said, "I will marry you for a rich life." Daniel and I had our wedding soon after I said yes. It was not a very big wedding, but it was very expensive. Everything looked perfect. It happened in a beautiful garden full of white flowers. I wore a long white dress. The dress cost a lot of money, more money than I ever saw before. I looked like a princess in a story, but I did not feel like one. Inside, I felt cold and wrong. I felt like I was telling a big lie. People at the wedding smiled at me. They told me I looked beautiful. Daniel's friends were there. They looked rich and serious. My mother came too. She cried during the wedding, but I did not know why. Maybe she was happy, maybe sad. When I had to say the words "I do," my voice was quiet and shaking. I tried to be strong. I told myself this was okay. It was a plan. Daniel wanted a wife, and I wanted a different life, a rich life. This was not about love. It was a deal. After the wedding, my new life began. I moved into Daniel's house. It was very big and beautiful, like a house in a magazine. It felt more like a museum than a home. There were many rooms, all clean and quiet. I finally had all the things I dreamed about for years. I had many expensive clothes from famous designers. I had beautiful jewelry that sparkled. I had a fast car to drive. I had everything I thought I wanted. My life was full of nice things, but Daniel was not home very often. He worked very hard. His job was important, and he traveled a lot for business meetings. Sometimes he was away for many days. When he was home, he was usually quiet. He often worked in his office, reading papers or making phone calls. Sometimes we ate dinner together at the long, shiny dining table, but we did not talk much. The silence in the big house felt heavy. The house was beautiful, but it felt empty. I had all this money and all these things, but I started to feel very lonely. I had the rich life I wanted, but I was not happy. It was a strange feeling. To stop feeling so lonely, I started going out more. I had lunch with other women who were married to rich men. I went to parties and special events for charity that Daniel's company planned. I hoped these things would make me feel better, less alone in the big, quiet house. 5. Someone new. My new life gave me many nice things, like beautiful clothes and a big house, but I often felt alone inside those quiet walls. Daniel worked long hours and traveled a lot for his business. When he was home, he was usually quiet, reading or working in his office. The house was beautiful, yes, but it felt empty without conversation or laughter. I needed to do something to fill the long days. So, I started going out more. I went to lunches with other women who were married to rich men. I also went to parties and events for good causes, like charities. Daniel's company often helped with these events. I hoped being around people would make me feel less lonely. One evening, I went to a big dinner for charity. There were many rich people there, dressed in expensive clothes, talking about money and business like always. But I met someone different that night. His name was Leo. He was helping to plan the event, making sure everything worked well. He was not like Daniel's serious friends. He did not wear expensive clothes. His clothes were simple but clean. What I noticed most were his kind eyes and his big, friendly smile. He told funny stories and made me laugh. Laughing felt so good. It felt new and warm inside me. Talking to Leo was very easy. It felt natural, like talking to an old friend. He asked me questions about myself, about what I liked, about my thoughts and feelings. He did not ask about my husband or how much money we had, like many other people did. He listened carefully when I spoke. It felt like he really saw me, Maria, the person inside, not just the wife of a rich man. I felt comfortable with him and happy. It was a feeling I did not have often in my new life. He made me feel like myself again. After that charity dinner, Leo and I started talking more. Sometimes he called me just to say hello. Then we started meeting for coffee sometimes. We always chose small, quiet cafes, away from the fancy places Daniel and his friends went. These meetings were our secret. Nobody knew about them. Keeping this secret made me feel a little nervous, but also excited. I told myself we were just friends. It was nice to have a friend I could talk to so easily. But deep inside, I knew it was becoming more than friendship. When I was with Leo, I felt truly happy and alive. I looked forward to seeing him each time. My heart beat faster when he smiled his warm smile at me. I realized I was starting to have strong romantic feelings for him. These feelings were very different from how I felt about Daniel. This felt real, like the love stories I used to dream about. I knew I was falling in love with Leo. This was a big problem. I was Daniel's wife. What was I going to do? 6. 2 lives. My life became 2 different stories. I was living 2 lives, and it was very hard. One life was with my husband, Daniel. This life was inside our big, beautiful house. Everything was quiet and expensive. I had nice clothes and cars. Daniel was often busy with his work. When he was home, we did not talk very much. It was a safe life, a rich life, but sometimes I felt lonely in the big rooms. My second life was a secret. This life was with Leo. We met outside my home in small, simple cafes. We talked for many hours. With Leo, I laughed a lot. He made me feel happy and understood. He saw me, Maria, not just the wife of a rich man. This secret life felt warm and full of light, but it was wrong because I was married to Daniel. Every time I met Leo, I felt happy. But when I went back home to the big, quiet house, I felt bad. Guilt was a heavy feeling inside me. Daniel gave me a comfortable life. He was my husband. Meeting Leo secretly felt like I was lying to Daniel every day. I knew it was not right. I felt trapped between these 2 lives. One life gave me money and safety. The other life gave me happiness and real connection. One evening, something different happened. Daniel came home from work earlier than usual. He had flowers in his hand. He gave them to me. This was not normal for him. We sat down together on the sofa. The house was quiet, like always. Then Daniel spoke. His voice was soft. He said, "Maria, I know I work a lot. I know I am not always here. And I know I am a quiet person." He looked at me. "But I want to try," he continued. "I want us to be better. I want us to be happy together. I am trying to love you, Maria." His words surprised me very much. Why was he saying this now? Now, when my heart felt close to Leo. Hearing Daniel say he wanted to try made my guilt grow bigger. It was like a heavy stone in my stomach. I felt so confused. What should I do? Daniel wanted to fix our marriage, but I had feelings for Leo. My 2 lives felt like they were pulling me in different directions. I did not know which way to go. 7. The secret is out. One evening, everything changed. I was sitting in the big living room. Daniel came in. He looked different, very tired. He was holding my phone. My heart stopped. He knew. He must have seen the messages I sent to Leo. I waited for him to shout. I thought he would be very angry, but he did not shout. He just looked at me. His eyes were very, very sad. Seeing his sadness hurt me much more than angry words. "I knew," he said. His voice was quiet. "I knew when we married, Maria. You did not love me then." He paused and looked down at the phone in his hand. "You wanted a safe life, a comfortable life. I knew that. I understood why you wanted to leave your old life." He looked back at me. "But I am human too. I hoped that maybe, after some time living together, you could start to feel something for me, maybe learn to love me a little." His voice was full of pain. "I guess I was wrong." He put my phone down on a small table. He did not say anything else. He just turned and walked slowly out of the room. I sat there alone. Tears started falling down my face. I could not stop crying. I felt so bad. I felt shame. My heart hurt, but it was not just sadness. It was guilt, too. Daniel was not angry, just deeply sad. That felt much worse. The next day was difficult. Leo called me. He knew something was wrong. I told him that Daniel found out about us. Leo did not wait. He said, "Maria, leave him now. Come with me. We love each other. We do not need his big house or his money. We can build our own life. We can be happy, just us." He sounded very sure. He wanted me to choose him right now. Later, I spoke to Daniel again. He was still quiet, but he was calm. He looked at me and said, "Maria, you are free. If you want to leave me and be with Leo, I will not stop you. You can go." He did not sound angry, just tired and resigned. So there it was. My secret was out. Now I had a very big choice to make. Should I leave Daniel? Leave this rich life, the big house, the nice things? Go to Leo, the man I really loved. We would not have much money, but maybe we would be happy. Or should I stay? Stay with Daniel, the kind but quiet man I married for security. The man who knew my secret but still gave me a choice. My head felt full. It was the hardest decision of my life. Love or security? Leo or Daniel? What should I do? 8. A new beginning. I thought a lot about my life. I thought about the past when I had no money. I remembered why I married Daniel. It was for security, for a different life. Then I thought about Leo. He made me laugh. I felt happy with him. It felt like real love. But I also thought about Daniel. He was sad when he found out about Leo. He was not angry, just sad. He told me he hoped I could love him one day. He was kind to me, even when he knew the truth. He said I could leave if I wanted. It was a very difficult choice. Love with Leo or security with Daniel? A simple life or a rich life? My heart felt heavy. I knew I hurt Daniel. I hurt Leo too. After thinking for many days, I made my decision. I knew what I had to do. I met Leo one last time. I told him I could not be with him. I told him I was going to stay with Daniel. Leo was very sad and angry. He did not understand. Saying goodbye to him was very painful. It hurt my heart. But I knew it was my choice. Then I went back to Daniel. I found him in his quiet office. I told him, "Daniel, I want to stay. I am sorry for everything. I want to try to make our marriage work. I really want to try." He looked at me for a long time. He did not smile, but his eyes looked less sad. Maybe he felt a little hope. He just nodded slowly. Our new beginning was not easy. It was slow. The big house still felt quiet sometimes, but we started to change things. We began to talk more, not just about the weather, but about our day, our thoughts. I asked him about his work, and he listened. He asked me about my day, too. We started eating dinner together every night at the table, not in front of the television. Sometimes he told a small joke, and I laughed. It felt strange at first. We were like two people learning to know each other again. Daniel started coming home from work a little earlier. Sometimes we went for walks in the park near our house. One day he held my hand. It surprised me, but it felt nice. Feelings started to grow between us. It was not like a big fire. It was small, like a little plant growing slowly. We had to take care of it every day. Sometimes I still felt bad about Leo. I missed his easy smile sometimes. But I saw Daniel trying. He was patient. He was kind. And I started to see him differently. Not just as a rich man, but as my husband. A man I was starting to care about. A man I was learning to love. My story did not start with love. I married for money. But I stayed. And slowly, very slowly, I found love here. It was not the story I expected, but it was my story.